What's going on, Minties? The Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, and today I've got something that was 11 years in the making. The final volume of the creepy Dark Horse Archives is here, so I'm going to do a quick overview. Stay tuned. And welcome back, Minties. The very first thing I want to do before I get started looking at this is I want to thank the fine folks at Dark Horse for sending me an advanced copy of this book. This is something that is near and dear to my heart because Creepy Volume 1 was one of the earliest things I reviewed for Dark Horse back in the day for a magazine. So now I have the final volume. And when I said earlier at the beginning it was 11 years in the making, it's a lot longer than that. Creepy Magazine ran from 1964 all the way to 1983, and it lasted 145 issues. So here we go. Here's the final ones. Now let's look at this really quick and compare it to the size of other hardcovers. Right off the bat, we're going to compare it to a hardcover from the BPRD series. So as you can see, it's a little taller and longer than said hardcover. Another Dark Horse book. This is the library edition of Hellboy. So obviously it's a little taller and longer. Hellboy is, that is, the library editions. And other library editions because they're the exact same size. And now to compare it to the size of an oversized hardcover this is from DC. So it's about the same height. Actually, it is the same height, not about the same height. And the length is a lot longer, though. Always love the inside look to these books because they would look really nice on the shelf like this. This very, very reminiscent of the Hellboy Library Edition books. Nothing on the back. Both this and Eerie, by the way, the sister magazine that came out. So let's look inside of this really quick. Okay, now let's look at this book. Look a little bit at the quality of it. It's got this glossy paper, table of contents. Now the actual books themselves are black and white. The magazines were black and white. These were originally printed this way. The only thing color was the cover and the back, of course. This is where Warren owned the rights to Creepy and Eerie, and also Vampirella. And Vampirella spun out of this, so I'm sure most of you are probably familiar with that character. So this collects the final 5 volumes. Let's look at the table of contents again really quick. 140 to 145. One of these days I'm going to learn to add because that is actually 6 volumes. Math is hard. So here is Creepy. Very similar to Tales from the Crypt. You know, one could say that it stole a lot of ideas from it, but, you know, to each their own. A lot of famous writers and artists went on to work for Warren. One of them is Bruce Jones is the one that comes to mind, the guy that eventually went on to take over the Incredible Hulk run that he did. He did a story called Jennifer in the pages here. Not this volume, but other volumes, and it is one of the creepiest stories, so much so that they turned it into a Masters of Horror episode when Showtime had that series. Within the pages of here, though, you have the work of Roger McKenzie, Alex Nino, Don McGregor, Victor De La Fuente. Yeah, and that's just to name a few, but just look at this wonderful artwork, and you know, it really doesn't need to be in color. I think the black and white just looks amazing. There's fantasy, there's horror in these books. There's like one ongoing story that you could say was a ripoff of Conan. But man, I absolutely love this collection. I've slipped up and missed a few volumes. I don't think even the ones that are out of print are that expensive. I'm probably wrong though. But this is what Creepy is. And what I may do is, once I get them all, or I may do an overview to showcase them, kind of like what I've done with the DC Rebirth books. So let me know in the comments down below if you're interested in seeing that. So the letter pages are here, where Uncle Creepy is the character, kind of like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. And yeah, this is just a very quick overview, just showcasing the artwork and how well it looks on this glossy paper. It just looks amazing. Some of these writers and artists, I mean, literally this stuff could have been written yesterday. Archie Goodwin got his start, just to name a few, just from over the series. Frazetta, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that guy. Here's the back here, which tells you 29 volumes. So I believe Eerie should be about the same, 27 or 28 volumes. And that is it. Now I gotta go hunting for these books. Now that was the contents of the book. Let me know in the comments down below if you're a fan of this series, if you started picking them up, if you've ever wondered what they were and you never knew. I may do an overview of them when I have the rest of the creepy and eerie, so let me know in the comments down below if you're interested in that. This was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint.